future female-led. Welcome to Business Without Barriers, the show bringing you relevant strategies to thrive and succeed in a volatile world, and the show turning barriers into bridges by bringing humanity back to business. I'm your host, Carmen Wild, and opening up her success vault today is Mireille Toulekima. Mireille is an award-winning global entrepreneur, energy consultant, woman empowerment advocate, speaker, humanitarian, and published author of 3 books, one being Stepping into Your Greatness. She's also the executive producer and host of the Greatness Engineering Hour and editor-in-chief of the Greatness Engineering magazine. She developed the authentic leadership system called D.A.R.E, which is now in its global rollout phase. An internationally recognized oil and gas professional, Mireille has been recognized as a woman of influence in the energy sector. She's the founder and managing director of the Perth Australia-based energy company MT Energy Resources and the Mireille Toulekima Global Leadership Organization. Mireille is part of the wave of women who've embraced non-traditional industries, globalization, innovation, and digital disruption. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. Welcome, Mireille.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to have, a great conversation in this time of disruption and this time where things are really what we live in a VUCA world, which is, there's a lot of volatility. It's complex. It's ambiguous. It's really difficult, but, we have to have those conversations. And it's really a pleasure for me to be here and to talk to you and to your audience.
Yeah, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say. You've got so much amazing experience in quite a tough industry. So I want to take a quote from your Facebook page and start there. Mm-hmm. I'm the change I want to see in the world. I leave nothing on the table of life. What have you grasped from the table of life with both hands?
So I live by this slogan because I started from I come from a very humble beginning, and what I've done so far through my life, it's always embraced whatever I have. Obviously, I was missing a lot of things in my life starting, but I decided not to concentrate on that. I decided to use, whatever I had, even if it was just one thing, and build on it and leave nothing to chance, leave nothing, like I said, on the table of life and bring everything with me. Obviously there are failures going forward, but those failures can actually be roadblocks to help, us to step into our greatness and continue to build, build ourselves, expand our territories, and really unleash the greatness that we all have inside of us. And that's always been my philosophy. Just like, we hear, I don't know if you know about Les Brown. Les Brown always said, you have to die empty. And for me, it's really, you leave nothing, you give it all. And, when it's done, it's done. So don't look back.
And that you certainly do, Mireille, as we're going to find out more later. But you leaving nothing on the table. You speak 5 languages, which is testimony to the fact that you leave nothing on the table and you really go all out. So you speak English, French, Malay, Portuguese, and Spanish. Mm-hmm. What's your secret around languages?
I love languages. The first thing is I really love languages. And in a way, it was also circumstantial because I've been working in the oil and gas industry for quite some time, so 20 years plus. And obviously, I got assignment in different countries. And if I really wanted to work and if I really wanted to have an impact in my work, I had to learn the languages of those countries. So I was in a way forced to learn those languages, but it was actually a pleasant process because I've always, wanted to learn different languages at school already. I was studying, so I started with my first language is French, so took English, took Spanish as well, and then as I was building my career, added, Malay because I've lived 6 years in Malaysia, and also, build up to Japanese, which I've learned when I was pregnant from my second child. I had problems, so I had to stop working really early. So didn't really know how to, to build on something. So I said, okay, I had a friend who was at that time giving Japanese training. So I said, that's gonna be the best time for me to learn Japanese. And by the time I realized I had to travel to Japan. So it's really been a beautiful process, not only because I like it, but also because I really needed it to grow in my work and also to grow as a person. Because I think if you can speak people languages, they open up to you and you can learn better their culture, better what they think, and fit and collaborate with them better. So that was also, part of the leadership part that I needed to have if I wanted to be a great leader.
You've really expanded your world beyond boundaries, cultures, languages, industries, and really broken some incredible boundaries, Mireille. Right now, the USA has a female vice president. Estonia became the only country in the world with a female president and a female prime minister at the helm. Do you think the future is female led? Let's hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, okay. That's one of my favorite subjects. And I definitely feel think that the future is female. I've worked in a very all my life in a male dominated environment, always around men. And what I realize it's that, we women have actually some key assets that are actually missing in those industry to bring those industry to the next level. So, and I think it's the same for the world that we are in. The men have been in charge. We see now what's happening. It's very challenging. So it's about time, we bring this feminine leadership on the table and start to push for it, because I think that's what's going to balance, thing there's been too much testosterone, and there's conflict everywhere. It's really difficult for everybody, and because we're not talking, and the pandemic actually teaches us that, just the hard way, we realize that we need to collaborate, and I think the best collaborators are actually women. So we really need this feminine leadership. We really need women to step up to really bring those feminine skills, this feminine leadership, to bring to solve whatever problems we have right now, balance everything, and help us to bring humanity to another level, because that's what it's all about, and everybody's going to benefit from it. So, and I think that's the message that we need to pass to our men. It's not about competing with them, it's about complementing what they've already build on, and then we can just optimize what's existing, and help them solve the problem that they've not been able to solve so far up to now, because we all in it together, and we all need to have a contribution, and if everybody can contribute, we all gain, and it's even better, because it's a multiplier factor. So we really need, and I think the women are not there, and they have a great future, and the future will definitely be female, because the problem that we experience right now, I know that only the woman leadership can solve those problems and bring us to the next level.
Give us a little bit more of the picture in your mind. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you've obviously thought about this. Give us a glimpse of what you think would be different in our world. If you were to take us into that future female-led world, give us a few indicators of what's different that you see.
So the difference that I see already is that there's going to be more empathy, so more understanding, which is something that's been really missing. It's been more about competitiveness and not really looking at the win-win situation, looking at empathy, looking at, growing together, looking at bringing, everybody creating, making sure that we, like I always said, that we bring the best out of, other people. It's really about, no, I want to be the first, and to be the first, I have to make sure that you stay behind. And I think for women, it's more going to be about, let's, bring this healing. Let's bring everybody at the same level, and let's help, people where we can help them, because I think we already see it, as women, especially mothers, they already do that with their children. They try to, be fair to all the children, irrespective of, what who they are, and irrespective of what they're lacking or what they're good at. Really try to bring the best out of their children. So the same here, try to bring the best out of the people that we lead, so that we can, create a better world for everybody. And I think that's what, women can bring. And we see it, I've been in boardrooms where, there's quite a certain number of women, and we see the difference. The companies that have, those women, they actually perform better. The numbers are there. So bringing this, diversity and this spirit of, collaboration, partnership, and valuing, the other person point of view and respecting it is really important, because you really need this diversity to help everybody to go up, instead of, having a certain group of people going up, and then the rest going down, because at the end they're going to drag you down as well, so you might as well go up together.
I love that. Go up together. Otherwise, you're going to disappear into the dungeons together too. So choose the
Exactly.
upward trend. So let's hear about your journey.
Mhm.
What was the road that led you into this male dominated industry of gas and oil?
So it's quite a tragic story in the end, because I actually left my family as a teenager. I went boarding in France, in Europe, because so my dad was in the education system. So he realized that the education system was degrading. I'm originally from Gabon in West Africa, which is a former French colony. So he decided, I mean, coming from a very average family, but where education was really valued, he decided that, it was time for me to go boarding, and I will have, a better chance of, of finding my way and having a great job as well. So he was himself, I mean, he was one of my inspiration, because he was in the science sector. He was also an engineer. So he sent me, and went boarding, and um, I did a secondary school, started uni. So I was more doing I was doing information technology, actually. And something happened, so my dad passed away. He was the one, providing everything. So I basically had to finish, that was the bachelor that I had to rush and finish, and go back home to support, my mom and and sibling. especially my mom, because she couldn't, she couldn't pay for me to stay there. So I had to go back to Gabon and entered, the workforce. And at that time, there were, the oil and gas industry was emerging. They were looking for local talents to be involved in the industry, and so, I mean, coming back from Europe and being in the science sector, not in the oil and gas actually, um, a company called Shell, which is a multinational, decided to bring, as graduate people who were in the science sector, and really train them as petroleum engineer, because there's a lot of science things, that you have to use as well as a petroleum engineer. So that's how I started, not knowing anything about the industry, really, going into it because I had to, provide for myself and for my mom as well. So just went into it, took, the opportunity that came and started to grow into it. It was actually a very difficult period at the beginning because despite the fact that I was in Gabon, the industry was dominated by foreigner and Caucasian male. So I came into a team where it was all Caucasian white male. And also people who had, graduated from one of some of the best university in the world, especially in the US and in the in Europe. And I think I was a bit, I was a bit apprehensive myself. I was my own worst enemy because I didn't believe in myself. I was coming from my university was not well known, from a very small town in France. I was not from the industries. I was not speaking the language because back then I could speak English, understand, but I was not fluent. So a lot of those, this insecurity started to creep in, the imposter syndrome, whatever they call it. And so the first year was really difficult, and because I was not speaking the language, I was not involved in some of the the key projects, and really started to play the victim, thinking, okay, because I'm a woman, that's why I'm treated like that, or because I'm black, that's why I'm treated like that. And because so all this negative narrative was coming inside my head. And I had a breakthrough. Just realized, I was not going anywhere. Yes, I had, I went through a trauma. My dad died. I had to, do several things. I'm black and a woman, but I just, sat down and said, hang on, Mireille, you are here. So there's a message here. So either you look at the positive side, or you're just never gonna grow and never gonna, amount to anything. And as soon as I had this shift and this change of mindset, I could see things growing. And that's when, my career started to really grow. I started to, I put a lot of effort learning the English. I could be fluent in English, started to ask, to be involved in projects that I thought were, projects that would help me grow. And really started to take control of my thought process, but also to really voice what I wanted. And also a key thing that I did is really ask for mentors, and really ask men, expert to mentor me, and go, and I would go and ask if somebody said yes. I would just say, okay, that's good, and then it helped me quite a lot to have those men mentor to navigate through my career. And from there on, it's just started to really, go in the right direction. I got assignment outside Gabon, went to Europe, went to Malaysia, and then 10 years into this working into this company all over the world, decided to because I started a family as well, so they decided to migrate to Australia and still work in the industry. And then also in Australia, things went really well. And here we are. So, and 5 years ago, I just, reassessed myself, realized that I was not where I wanted to be, was not progressing anymore, working in the corporate sector. So I decided to take the leap and then start and become an entrepreneur, full-time entrepreneur. Started Empty Energy Resources as a consultancy, and it was hard, the first 2 years, because I thought that having 20 years experience, it was gonna be a piece of cake, but I didn't realize that it was not about just the technical part. There's also the leadership. There's also understand the finance part, also the human resources, how you manage your human resources, and how you lead as well. So I've learned the hard way, but I'm in a very good space now, and really enjoy where I am, where I have control on my career, and in parallel was doing an amazing work of empowerment, using my own story and my own experience to empower other women and to bring more women into those what I call non-traditional industry, where it's very male dominated. So I've been doing that now for almost 10 years, and really getting involved, getting into think tanks, getting into groups, and implementing things myself. One of the key things that I've implemented recently was the fund to create the STEM Queen program. So in
So,
Uganda,
Mireille,
yeah.
before you talk about that, I
Mm-hmm.
just want to wrap up some really important points you brought across. Thank you for sharing that
Mm-hmm.
story with us. And it's fascinating that it was actually almost by accident that
Mm-hmm.
you landed in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
What is really remarkable, though, is the way you really grasped from the table of
Mm-hmm.
business in this perspective, or in this instance. And I just wanted to, wrap that story up, because you've mentioned so many amazing, crucial success insights, actually, that you've brought up there as
Mm-hmm.
part of your story. I believe truly that the greatest barriers on the journey to success are the barriers in our minds. And when you
Exactly.
overcome those barriers, you simply become unstoppable. And your story
Mm-hmm.
proves that. You
Mm-hmm.
sat with yourself and you said, Mireille, okay, you're either going to go nowhere, or you're going to grasp what's on the table here, and you're going to look to yourself, and you're not going to be a victim. You're not going to,
Mm-hmm.
blame everybody else. You're going to take control, is what you
Mm-hmm.
spoke about. Strong word. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually one of my signature programs. And it's, you said, take control, learn the language, get involved, get on projects, put your hand up, put yourself first, believe in
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing such important points for us to really take note of, because your breakthrough was you. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't an external something. It was your personal breakthrough, seeing the
Mm-hmm.
situation differently. I just wanted to highlight that, because you've brought it across so beautifully, and it's such powerful principles in your story. Um, Before we go on to STEM, which I really want to hear about, maybe you can just to stick a little bit longer in this on this
Mm-hmm.
topic. What were some of the surprising lessons for you that you learned about working with men that maybe is contrary to what the world makes us think?
Mm-hmm. So the surprising lesson was that because we always talk about the boys' club and all the it's really difficult to break into it. One of the surprising lesson is that it's not actually that difficult. It's like we said, it's happening in our mind. because for me, actually working in this industry where they were, you know, very male dominated, I had actually more problems with women, as when I had women supervisors. So I got a lot of support from men, and I think what I've learned with men is about results. So they're not into the emotions. So and that's probably why sometimes we there's a clash, because they're really Cartesian. It's, you know, it's about, you know, what they see and what you deliver. And when you understand that, you are okay. And that's the thing that I really understood, is that I need to speak a different language with them and understand that it's about result, it's about numbers, it's about, being, it's binary with them. So when you understand that, you realize that, you shouldn't take things personally when, when you are challenged on your work or on a project that you work on, because for them it's just about, it's just about the work, it's just about making sure you deliver the best. And then after that they forget. And I've been in situation at the beginning when I didn't understand that, is that, you argue with somebody on a project on something, and they criticize your work and things like that, and you're like, this person doesn't like me. And then you go out there like, hey, hi Mireille, how are you? Like, how can he dare actually, asking me things like that when he put me on the spot, during the meeting? No, it's, for them, they forget it's about the work, it's about the moment. This is, a setting. And outside that, it's something else. They appreciate you for who you are, for what you bring, socially. So that's a key one that, that actually helped me understand really the process. And I also have brothers, so, cross check with the brothers as well. So it's been a good learning for me. And the second learning is, and I think I mentioned it before, for women, take control. Focus on what you have control on. You can't control the man who's, behaving badly, who's not promoting you or anything. Look at what you can control and just go for it, and leave the emotion out of it. Just keep going, stay focused, and know what you want. And I've seen actually a lot of women who are very talented and who could, be, you know, very good CEOs and things like that, not getting those positions because they don't ask, and because they really want to be, to be perfect before they can get to a position. And yet men are completely different. When they want something, they will raise their hand. Even if they're not ready, they will, learn on the job. And by the time you realize you're trying to be perfect, they're already, 2, 3 level ahead of you, and you get frustrated. But that's just what it is. It's that, you raise your hand, get ready to work for it, even if you're not there. Have a plan to say, okay, I'm going to take this position, I'm going to raise my hand for this position. I might not be at 100%, but if I'm at 70% of the skills that I require, I'm going to go for it and fight for it and ask to be considered. So in a way, sometimes women, we are, not all the time, but sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We don't believe enough in ourselves, and especially in a setting where there's a lot of male, we always have the feeling that we have to wait to be recognized. But we have to know our value. If we know we are valuable, if we know we have the skills, if we know we have the experience, just go ask. I mean, the worst is that people say no, and then you stay at the same level. But at least ask and position yourself and try. And most of the time, if they try, they go through, especially if they have, the right mentors and the right support as well. So I think those are the key things that I've learned working in a male-dominated environment.
Amazing insight, and especially when it comes from someone who's been in the trenches, you've been there, you've spent decades in that space, and you've proven over and over to yourself that there's this, when you bring the results and you bring all the empathy and the you know the more humanitarian type, the nurturing side of things, the leadership, and you bring that together, you've got an incredible, balanced, very powerful leader, which can move forward. So thank you for sharing that with us. And let's talk now about STEM. So it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Are you seeing an increase in the numbers of women entering this space or these spaces?
So over there's been different phases. When I started back 25 years ago, I mean, even in the oil and gas industry, but I was also following the technology industry because that's where I started. We didn't have a lot of women actually entering the those industry. It was just, okay, no, we don't want to do that. They were going somewhere else, but they were not confident to, even if they had the skills and they went into the right schools, they were like, no, we don't want to do that. Now the problem has shifted, so we've actually seen the number of women entering the industry, those STEM industry grow quite significantly. But what happened, and we call it the leaking pipeline, is that in the middle of the pipeline, they just drop out. And that's, this pipeline is really leaking like mad. And it happened when they start to have their families, or when they get stuck because they don't, they don't get those promotions, and they don't really, try to look at strategically how to do this. So they just say, okay, enough, we leave the industry, and that's it. So we have a very leaky pipeline right now with, in those industries. We have an influx, the women, and they understand that they have to be, the young generation, they understand that they have to be, there. That's where the jobs are. But then when they, as they mature and they get stuck in the middle, and then the pipeline just keep leaking. So that's the problem that we're facing right now, making sure that, when they enter the industry, they stay there and they go up, because that's also the problem. A lot of us stay stuck in the middle. And one of the option, and because that it happened to me, I got stuck in the middle, didn't really know what to do. I just created my own table, and so that I can actually stay in the industry and grow as well, because now I can sit at the same table that people that didn't want to give me the table. So it's so it's another way. There are always options that you can investigate, and that's what by getting involved in those social enterprise like STEM Queen, bringing this message is that you can make it, you can do it as woman, and we need you, because like I said, we just realized that companies or industry where women play a role at the high level perform better. So you have your place. We really need you, and get confident. I mean, obviously they are always challenges, but don't be deterred by those challenges. There are strategies to get around it. So that's really where the problem lies right now.
Is your initiative, the STEM Queens initiative, is that tackling this problem, or tell us a little bit more about what you're wanting to achieve with that?
So STEM Queen is in a way tackling the problem, but not directly. So STEM Queen, we actually reach out to girls and women who are in difficult environment, especially where they don't have the visibility and they can't actually grow. They have no option, especially financially. So what we're doing is that we have outreach, and we show them what STEM is all about and what STEM can create for them. And because we are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution, where STEM and digital has a very high impact. So what we're telling them is that, make sure you're part of it, because the jobs of the future are going to be there. And if you really want the economic, freedom and economic empowerment, you have to be part of this industry and you have to play a role. So that's why we going to, we actually focusing on, end of secondary school, early uni, and new graduates. So those graduates that we think are going to be part of the leaking pipeline, prepare them already to say no. Yes, you are here, but don't drop out. After when you start your family, or after 10 years, because you get stuck. There are strategies, and we bring our own story. They have strategies that can help you to get around it, and you can still make up to where you want to be, but don't. So really bring those real stories, because for me, just telling people about something, that's one thing. But when they see it, and they can see you and your story, a real story, then they will believe that they can do it as well. So it's really about bringing those stories, and also bringing the awareness as far as those industry, the power of those industry in their empowerment, in their financial empowerment, and in their and in them being part of the big picture, and still being relevant as far as their professional life is concerned.
How are you delivering this initiative? Are you going to schools, universities, or is it an online? How do you do it?
So it's a hybrid, if you use hybrid method. So there's going to school locally. So I have a group of, my team is so they do it quarterly. So they go, and normally in regional areas in schools, and they bring this message, and they normally bring two or three professional with them who can talk about the story. Or they also have projects, where they involve, especially for schools, the one that are ready to go to university. So get project for them to work on, and direct them, on, so that they can grasp, what, you know, pulp, what it's all about, and have an idea. And we try to reach out to organization who can help them to have, like, maybe 1 2 weeks, or even a month, where they really understand the working environment in a STEM setting, and what it's all about, and see if they like it, and really make it real for them, because I think that's what it's all about. Because when you talk about STEM to a lot of women, it's like, oh no, it's not for us, but make it real, and make sure that they understand that STEM is actually everywhere. So, for example, one of my team members, she's in the health sector, and so she's basically going there and say, okay, in the health sector, this is how technology, is affecting your everyday life. So then they understand that, yes, that's something I can do. That's something that's the impact that I want to have. So make it real. And there's also the online as well, especially now, where we reach out to people, and to schools. And one thing that we're trying to do now is to have sponsorship. So get to have sponsorship for rural girls, indigenous girls, to study, in the area of STEM, in some of the most reputable university, either in their country or outside their country, in the Western universities. So we're pushing for that. That's the next step, on top of what we're already doing. So the outreach, but also the training and the education, like coding courses, and anything that we can help them. I mean, there's also, the team has done workshop to manufacture soap, things that people use, every day, and so that they understand that there's a STEM input in that. So that's been really good.
Highly relevant initiative that you're spearheading there. It's actually bridging so many or breaking through so many barriers on so many fronts through one initiative. And we're just really wishing you so much success and joy in that, because of the way in which it's breaking through so many barriers. You wrote the book Stepping into Your Greatness, and there are, I think it's 12 rules for building an outstanding life. If you scan those rules, pick one or two of them that you think are really relevant for this place we find ourselves in, this VUCA world, and going forward, creating an enriching future or an outstanding life. What comes to mind as really important from your book?
So I would say the first rule is one of the most important, which is, understand that you have greatness inside of you. So that's because it's really the starting point of everything that it's happening in your life. It starts with you. So really starting this process of understanding that, whatever I want to materialize, outside or anywhere, I have to look inside and know what my greatness is all about, and then unleash this greatness so that I can go further. So that's the first one. And then one of the important one, the one that I like as well, is making sure that you have a 360-degree network, because sometimes what's happening, we think we can do it on our own, but collaboration is key. And building this 360 degree network is really important. You don't just look at your level, you look up. So there are people that you want to connect with up. There are people that you want to connect at your same level as you, but there are also people that you want to connect with down, because those people it's like reverse mentoring or reverse coaching. You learn from them, and they can also help you. They can, there are areas where you need their help. So up, down, and lateral. So it's really important. So you have to cover the full cycle. And because what we see sometimes is that we only stay in our own, own little world, and we don't realize that we don't grow. But yet, by going through this cycle, we grow so much, and we definitely cover, the right, the right spectrum. The other thing is to make sure that you have a group of people around you, and Napoleon Hill called them, the mastermind alliances. Those people that actually gonna believe in your mission, believe in you, and support you in any, in any, any situation. So those are, I think, the three pillar. And one that is now coming really strong as well, which is, that you have to develop your own brand, the brand that, that is you. And because you have to be visible now, you have to come out, because how do you want people to see you the way you want to be seen if you don't voice it, if you don't show it, if you don't portray it? So really, understand the power of how you come across, and the power of what you can do to push, to push yourself, and to show yourself to the world, and be able to live your purpose, and fulfill your mission. So I think those four ones are very the numbers are, I can give you the numbers later, but those are the four key ones that I've been, really using and building on everything that I do right now.
Really nice how you've crystallized those particular rules, as you put it, and it's sort of guidelines to live by. Because right now, it's what I'm finding interesting about the four that you've chosen is that there's one key. It starts with you. So one is about you, unleash that greatness. It's in you, believe in yourself. But the other three are about others. And that's a shift in the focus and the consciousness that we're seeing to resolve the problems we have right now. You've spoken about it's about collaboration. It's about having that 360-degree network. I love that. And then it's about the brand that is you. But however, it's about the visibility so people can find you. So incredible shift, and thank you for putting that on the table around how important it is that we have this 360-degree view around how important this collaboration and co-creation really is in this world we're in right now. Lovely. You speak about making each day your masterpiece. What a beautiful goal to strive every day to achieve that. Do you have some daily practices that you can share with us that helps you create each day, to your liking?
I have some interesting ones, and one that is actually getting me, always to push myself is to take, half an hour every day and write 50 ideas and 50 things that I want to do. If I'm not limited by money, I'm not limited by anything, I'm not limited, what can I do? What can I do? And write those 50 ideas every single day. And by the time you realize, you just scan through it and you realize there are things that you can actually pursue and push as well. So and that's how, I've always progressed. People are like, you're doing so many things and how do you do that? It's just, this practice have helped me to say, okay, I have no limitation. I have all the resources that I want. I have no limitation, whatever. What can I do? And I write it down. At the beginning, it's a bit difficult, even putting 5 or 10. But as you start to be familiar with that, you realize, oh, I can do so many things. And then you reverse, you look at the different things that you've put and you reverse engineer to see, okay, now if I put this limitation, what does this idea becomes? And then you've crafted a project, or you've crafted something that actually can make a difference. And I think one thing that I always tell people is that, take time to think and structure your thinking, and take this time, because that's really what's going to define, your life, what's going to define your next move. So it's not time wasted, even just sitting there and, meditating. Some people just meditate, or just thinking about where you are, where you want to be, and how you, like I said, how you want to come across. Just have this really clear in your mind, and have this, regularly, every day, at least once a day. It's just so powerful. And I think that's what, brings you to be able to make, your day a masterpiece, because you've identified what you can do, without any limits. And then when you start to put those limits, back, you just realize, that, today I've done what I could do with what I have. So, it's my masterpiece. And then you keep pushing, because as you continue in this process, you realize that you can do so many things. Because I was thinking, when and I got it from a coach. I was thinking, oh yeah, at some point, I mean, I'm going to run out of ideas. No, it's the other way around. You get basically, start to have so many ideas that it becomes really crazy. And that's when you realize, you unlimited, that, you realize, wow, I'm limited. It's just, myself putting, those limits and not really, investigating how, I can do more and more and more. And really, so I advise people to really have, this, it's been powerful in my life. So really have this going on. And another thing that is also very powerful for me is always to find a time, I don't have like, a sequence for that. So find a time to always, go and sit down with people who have less than you and understand, how they're coping, how they, what are the problem that they have, listen to them without judging them, and really understand. And it actually helps you to stay positive and have, because you just at some point realize that I'm so better off. So I don't have, I have no ground to complain, and it push you to always start to look at, what to be grateful for. And that I do, there's no frequency in a way, but I try to do it at least, 4 or 5 times in the year. Just go maybe in the north, visit some orphans, or anybody that you feel like, they're really struggling, and just listen to them and see, observe, what they go through, and sit down and say, okay, what about me now? So it's
Such richness in what you've shared.
mhm,
Thank you, Moran. So different as well. That
mhm,
the context that you're creating, sort of like incubating, or you're sparking creativity every single day. You're
mhm,
watering your creative mind every single day, and
mhm.
like you say, what happens is
Yeah,
it like just sparks a whole tree.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
never run out. You actually have the opposite.
No.
And the beautiful what you're saying there is just go spend some time with people less than you, because it brings such a different perspective on how blessed we are.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing those with us. If you had a crystal ball, and this crystal ball could give you sight into anything, what is it that you would choose to see and why?
Oh, wow. That's if I had a crystal ball, and oh, that's a powerful question, but at the same time, very difficult question. Um, I would actually use this crystal ball um to look back, actually, like, being the mirror of looking at my life, because I realized sometimes, I went through things but didn't really get, the message in a way. So really have like an external me looking at what I've done, and then, basically rating, how I'm doing all the way, and see, and have the result of the rating given to me, and see if that's the state of mind where I am. Do I feel like, I've been exceptional, or do I feel like I'm not exceptional, or do I feel like, I still have a lot of work to do, or do I feel like, so really have what I say, uh, introspection, and review of my life, and where, this crystal ball think I should be, and rate it in, what I have in my mind and what I think of myself and my journey. So really for improvement purposes for me.
What a lovely perspective.
Mhm,
As it's taking stock. It's almost like taking
mhm,
stock of what is, what are, maybe there's so many riches or treasures we've forgotten about, so
mhm,
many
mhm,
learnings, things we could have done better that you bring into today, and it can just unleash so much.
mhm, mhm,
Really interesting perspective, because so many people would choose to look forward, and what you've chosen to do something different, which I love, is
mhm,
hang on a moment. There's already riches, so many riches from the past I can gather.
mhm,
That's beautiful.
mhm.
What excites you about the world that we're in right now?
Say again. Sorry.
What excites you about the world that we're in right now?
I'm actually very excited by the fact that it's really uncertain. So there's no way of really planning ahead. And for me, it's exciting because then I can innovate, I can live in the moment and get the right energy. Because sometimes when things are planned for you, you're basically just sit down and don't really do anything. So I think the excitement for me is really being able to contribute and innovate every single day, be creative, and also what I like is this possibility now to reach out to people easily, with the digital, and really in a click, be able to reach out to somebody, have a conversation, or even, start to work together. So that's really exciting as well, because before that, it was quite limited. You had to do so much. I mean, meet the person and identify. But now, in a click, you can reach out to somebody, talk to the person. If you like the person, that's fine. If you don't like, you move on, and then try to be, creative and innovative, and create, like I said, project. I like movement, and I think that's what it's all about. I really like movement. I really like things that move, things that change. I don't, I hate being bored, and I think that's what this moment, this word is bringing, is that you don't have time to get bored. You always have to keep moving. You have to keep excelling. You always have to extend your territory. You always have to, improve yourself, because if you stop, I mean, you're a person of the past. So really starting all the way, learning from people, learning from situation, and yes, I mean, you fall, but keep, coming up and moving, because you don't want to stop.
You were absolutely made for the world we're in right now, Mireille.
Mhm. That's what I realized.
You're kind of right in your element in this space, and it's wonderful. I mean, your face radiates when you speak about the movement and keep moving
Mhm,
forward. It's quite a treat to actually see how
mhm,
it's a picture of movement.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
You've done so many things because you're constantly moving,
mhm.
and you've achieved so many things, and you've won awards, and you've broken through so many barriers. If you were to just scan your past, what would you say is your most treasured success that pops out for you?
Oh, it's really difficult, because I've had so many breakthroughs, and I treasure them really, a lot. But I think one of the treasure one is being able to continue the legacy of my dad, because I remember, when we were young, we didn't have much, and dad was always saying, your education is gonna be your wealth, and I'm not going to leave you anything, because he had nothing. I'm not going to leave you a house or anything, but you're going to be wealthy by by you using your education. And I think I can still listen to those words, and where I'm sitting right now is like, wow, he was such a visionary, because education has given me everything, every single thing. I mean, we were, you know, coming from a very humble family. I mean, my grandparents had nothing. Dad, it started education started with my dad, who actually, you know, gave us a better, you know, a better life because he was educated, and then perpetrating this and bringing it to another level. That's just starting from nothing. That's just impressive. And I think that's really the thing for me, is that being able to have this prophecy, you know, being really the living this prophecy that dad, you know, always, you know, was repeating to us, and that's it, very powerful.
I agree that it's beautiful, actually, to be able to say that about someone so significant in your life, and what that also means for all the people that you're now educating. I mean, that's become just what you live by, and how many thousands and thousands that you've educated it's incredible. Beautiful, treasured success story there. So, Mireille, if you could share a message that's really close to your heart, and something that's really deeply meaningful for you, and you could share this message with the world, what would you want to share?
My message is simple, and we talked about it before. Is, you know, don't leave anything on the table of life. That's just my slogan, and I will keep on repeating it. You all have greatness inside of you. If you don't know what your greatness is, search for it inside, and make sure you step into it. Make sure you expand your territory. Make sure you go to the next level all the time. Don't limit yourself. I mean, people are going to try to limit you. They're going to try to put you in a box, but, you know, think about you. What can you control? And you can control everything in your life. It starts with you, and then, you know, and really understand what your greatness is all about, and really, you know, unleash this greatness to the world, and keep moving, because that's what it's all about. Keep moving, keep going forward, keep expanding. You're gonna fall, that's not a problem. Get up and keep moving forward, because we are unlimited. And I can assure you of that. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we are unlimited, and if you keep pushing, you will be in the place where you want to be. So that's really important to know.
Thank you, Mireille. You've placed so many treasures on the table for us today. And I thank you for your beautiful spirit, your just creativity that just sparks right out of you, and also your generosity in giving. You really give, all of you, and you keep doing that, and you keep moving. So thank you for the leader that you are, and for what the barriers you've broken through to show that it's possible. Thank you. And thank you for the hour. It's been a beautiful hour to hear how you think as a female disruptor in the oil and gas industry. A treat.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a very pleasant conversation. And, you know, as you can see, I'm always very, you know, so eager to talk about, you know, my story and greatness, because greatness is everything for me. So that's really fantastic. Thanks for everything that you do, and bringing, you know, this message to your audience. And I hope they really enjoyed it. And I hope I've inspired some of them.
And that you sure have done. And to all of you listening and watching, we've dominate the conversation around potentially females leading the future. However, the message is both. It's both for male and female. There's as Mireille has said so many times over in different ways, this world is really about collaboration. It's really about us coming together with all our greatness and all our talents and our gifts, and to collaborate and to leave nothing on the table, to grasp everything that's on that table with both hands, and to do that together. And what I absolutely loved is, if there is no table, go and create it. Go for it. Tap into your greatness. Thank you for being with us. And until next time, lots of love.